When you're down for so long, coming back to a normal level wasn't enough. I was just a black sheep growing up. I was the example not to follow. A lot of people didn't want me around their kids.
You were working in a sand mine as well, right?
At that point, he was our only option. Shovel sand all day long. He was tough.
Did you like your life?
Never. I feel like if I didn't find a boxing gym at that time, I would have passed away.
Facing Tyson Fury.
In the battle of the baddest, and the heavyweight champion has to pick himself off the...
You lose to a split decision.
I mean, I won. Look at me now. Look at my life. All the people that been doubting me, I was there proving them wrong. Only person that will help you and decide on your life and change your life is you.
Francis, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. What do you believe high performance is?
I think it's exceed your limit. I think it's go above average. High performance is about, like, I would say it's about making difference between others, because there is a performance that everybody would do, but what make some performance high performance, I think, is the dedication, also the discipline that you put in it. And in order to put those, you need a motivation too. And all that combined with your hard work, then you get the result of, you get to the high performance.
Hey everyone, it's Jake here. Listen, before we get going, I just wanted to drop in and say a huge thanks to all of our new subscribers. This channel is growing like crazy, and here's the truth, okay? The more subscribers we get, the bigger the channel becomes. The bigger it becomes, the greater the names that we can attract. So before you watch this video, please just spend 5 seconds hitting subscribe. It's good for us, but it's also great for you, and it really helps grow this channel. Thank you so much, and enjoy. I love the idea of doing the things that other people don't do. So let's rewind right back to a young guy growing up in Cameroon. Was there a moment where you realized that maybe the way that you thought was different to the way the people around you were thinking?
As soon as I can remember, I always knew that that difference was quite obvious since I was a kid. But then people around me, they notice it, and he has a negative effect. You know, like I was like, what, maybe 7, 8 years old, and I was questioning, like, adult, like, yes, but why? And in Africa, they don't like that. You have to obey. You have to listen and do what the elder person say, or parents. And then I need to understand reason of stuff, and I have my own vision or opinion about stuff, and I shouldn't, according to them. And that make my upbringing even tougher, because yes, we were very poor. Yes, we were very unstable in our family, and even in resource and everything. But I was just like a bad kid, a kid that question adult, a kid that disobey, that doesn't respect, and it was bad.
So why did you?
I don't know. I mean, they were noticing it, but for me, it wasn't something that I'm like, okay, let's do this. I was just a kid. I think it was just my way of thinking that was different, but it wasn't something that I wasn't clever enough at that point to think that I should do things differently, right? He was just me, and I grew up like that. And every time I will have my own way or my own opinion on doing things, and I was the example not to follow. A lot of people didn't want me around their kids. They didn't want me around their family. I'm like, I would intoxicate them. Like, I have a bad thinking. They want their kids to be respectful, this, and then I don't come. They don't want me to come around and stick these nasty ideas of curiosity, disobedience to their kids or something. Like I was just a black sheep growing up.
Can you give us an example of what you're describing? Like, what was the kind of questions you were asking?
For example, I was 6 years old, and then I went to my aunt, who was like the older sister of my mom, and then she has like 8 kids in the house, and among those 8 kids, I fit in like maybe the 5th. Yeah, we were the same age, kind of. And I missed my parents so much at that point. And, you know, I love my family, and I love my dad, my mom, my siblings and everything. And the divorce separated us. I'm there I found myself in this family. I'm not seeing my mom, I'm not seeing my dad, I'm not seeing my brother or my sister, and I don't know when I'm gonna see them, you know. So I start to reflect to that and thinking about it. And someday it was just me and my aunt in the kitchen, and she was working, and I look at her and then I asked her why my mom and my dad couldn't stay together like your husband and you. And I was just like about 6 or close to 7 years old. She looked at me like this. And since that day, she passed away in 2018. And she didn't believe that I was a kid. She knew that this is not a kid, this is something else. Like for her, he was like the spirit, a different spirit was a spirit was living in the body of a kid, like something, and but in a negative way, you know. So he was really bad on me.
Oh, really?
Yes, like when they say that in Africa, he's a bad way, you know.
Were you loved by people around you? If your mum and dad weren't there, your brothers and sisters weren't there, who was loving you at the age of 6 or 7?
I was missing them. I mean, sometimes I think at that age, what kids need is their parents and what they use for, you know. Until then, the only people that I really know and get familiar with was my parents and my sibling.
Why couldn't you stay with...
all of a sudden, they are not there anymore. I found myself in this city, far away, 5 hours, at least 5 hours away from anybody that I know. I remember I was maybe like 11 or 12 years old. Then I get sick. And then one of my far cousin came to the house, and because I was very sick and for a long time, and he came to the house and he said, if you're tired of living, you can leave now. Of living, you can go now, but don't make our sister life complicated. Because, and then when they say that, you know, they have a story in Africa that there is this body that come in the form of a kid, and they come in some family, and sometimes they can come with blessing, and sometimes they can just come with trauma. So he was his own way to say, like, he was speaking to a spirit. He wasn't speaking to me as a kid. You know, like, okay, if you're tired of living, you can die now, basically. Like, leave our sister now. Like, give her a break now.
Hey everyone, look, myself and Damien want just 1 minute of your time to talk to you about Whoop, game-changing wearable tech. And we've partnered with Whoop to offer you a 30-day risk-free trial. All you need to do is hit the link in the description to this podcast, and you can make 2024 your best year yet.
Whoop measures your fitness, your recovery and your sleep, and best of all, it coaches you through. And we know the importance of getting feedback and consistent behaviours. Whoop helps you get both.
And I think that sleep is the underrated golden bullet for high performance. I can't talk highly enough of Whoop. And if you're interested in signing up, all you need to do is hit the link in the description to this podcast. And once you've done that, you can go to the Whoop app, hit the community tab, join the high performance community, and you might just win the chance to come and join us for a recording of the High Performance Podcast.
So sign up now at join.whoop.com/HPP.
Right, back to the episode.
There's an interesting psychological theory on this called around attachment theory, that up until the age of 5, we learn how do we receive care and affection from our caregivers, and that's often the relationship we have with our parents or the adults in our lives. So given that you had to move away to your auntie and you were classed as a troublesome child, how do you think it affected you in terms of establishing relationships now in your adult life?
At that moment, he affected me a lot. You know, I was very attaching, but at the same time, when I look at it now, he was something that I need for my own growth, personal growth, for my own development.
Why?
Why? Because I look back in my life, everything that led me here, it's basically like everything was planned. Like my life, my whole life, I just been like following a plan. You know, even without knowing what I'm doing, I'm following a plan. Like if you go at certain moment of my life and change one thing, then there is 80% of a chance that I wouldn't be here where I am today, right? So like what happened at that moment, I started to think about it a lot, and then what I did was that I started to imagine the perfect family that I wanted, or the perfect life that I wanted. I imagined it so much then that I started to build it, to make it, adjust everything to make it perfect. Then I get to the point that I get that perfect life in my mind. And then he became a thing. I have this family life in my mind that I was living. And then at some point of the day, I'm going to escape. Basically, when it's tough, I'm going to escape, go to that family, you know, and that imaginary family, that everything is perfect. My mom is there, my sister, my brother, siblings are there, my dad is there, and then everything is right. I'm going to school. I don't have a book problem or a pen problem. Everything is perfect. It was the best thing that I had at that moment. So I was so attached into it, and it was evolving over the years, right? And that's also something that I get to the point that, you know, at first you're trying to fit in, because I lived with my aunts for 3 years. And after that, I started to move here with my uncle for 6 months, and there. And everywhere you're trying to fit in, you know. You're trying to fit in, whether it's at home or at school or out there, just trying to have a friend. But my own world gets so big that I think at some point, unconsciously, I accepted the situation and just get back in myself. I accepted myself, my life as it was, and I was dealing with me. And from that moment, I never need to belong anymore. And I never need a friend. Like, thing that I was chasing all the time.
Did you have many friends?
No. No. I was moving all those time, and then like not only I went to some place, and then I was stranger at home, you know, have to get familiar even with kids at home or around in the neighborhood. We have to know each other, and I was alone. I was the new guy trying to fit in. Same thing at school. And then by the time maybe they start to recognize my face, I'm moving somewhere else. And something that didn't help, not only I was a new kid, but for some, you know, when you're a new kid and you're the cool kid, it's cool. You have friends really quick. You're the guy that come with cool stuff and this. But it was the reverse here. I was a new kid, but the one that maybe after 2-3 days at school, they're going to kick him out of the school because he didn't pay a scholar fee, or he didn't have a book to take note on, or he didn't have a pen. So from that moment, not only you're a stranger, but you're basically embarrassing nobody wants to be a friend with, kind of. And that's what makes it even harder. And I get to the point that, and I struggle with that for a long time, but everything changed when I accepted it. I'm like, okay, just having my wall, my visual wall in my mind was enough for me to escape. And when I was dealing with tough stuff, I would go hang out with that wall that I have in my mind.
I'm fascinated by what you're describing is in many ways visualization.
Mm-hmm.
So in the skill in psychology, often sports people use it is to visualize an outcome they want and then construct their whole life to move towards it. And I'm interested, how much of that visualization skill that you were doing to imagine the perfect family do you still use today then, Francis?
I still have that. I visualize a lot. You know, like, it's something that I grew up with. It's something that I lived with for so many years, you know. And then I found myself, it get me comfortable. I found myself at some point in life that I didn't have friends and I didn't need friends, you know. I didn't even need people. And for some people, when you say that, it's kind of like sad. But that has become my biggest strength. Not to be independent, not to be dependent on anybody or anything. So the thing about me is that everything that I'm doing or what we are doing here is cool, this is cool, this is cool. I'm capable of live without all of this. If needed, if I feel like I need it, I'm capable to walk away like there was never something here.
But
right?
How does that impact relationships now, like as an adult, like with your partner or making friends or bringing coaches into your circle?
I would not say he impacts. I have a very tight circle. I'm very lonely person. I'm very independent. For some people, most of the people, they don't understand, but it's my own way of being. One thing that I refuse to do is to let people's judgment impact my life. You know, obviously I get to some point in my life and then things started to change, and I started to become the cool guy, and I started to get invitation to parties and stuff like that. But I never find my spot. I will go to the party, then I don't want to be there. I realize that I don't want to be there. And then the way that at some point I need to escape to go somewhere that I'm alone. That's how I refresh. I refuel. Otherwise, I feel like it's drowning my energy, you know. And then I started maybe turn down. But the problem is that when people get interested about you when you're cool, and then they discover the person that you are, and I'm like, yes, you think it's cool, because they don't really know you, which is exactly the same thing that you have from like maybe 5 years ago. But 5 years ago, nobody give a damn about you. 10 years ago, nobody gives a damn. But they are discovering you now. And I'm like, yeah, he's doing this because he's cool. No, he's not nice. He doesn't like me. He doesn't this. No, he's just like that. He just like to be with himself. Till this day, like, again, I have even when I go home, and I love my family so much, I have my own place. There is a place for time for family. There is a time for me. And then when comes time for me, if family is messing around, that's no cool. I need my space. I need my moment with me, and that's how I work.
I think it's a really powerful message for people, because we often forget that all the things that we went through when we were young is the reason why we are where we are today. You know, there wasn't young Francis and the Francis you are now. They're not two separate people. It's all one. And a lot of this came from the challenge and the hard times. I'd love you to explain to the people watching and listening to this that while you were at school, without the money to take a pen or a book or a bag, and you had no friends and you felt you didn't belong with your aunt and all of the family, you were working in a sand mine as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was 3 years after, because I went to my aunt's, like, I was 6, right when my parents divorced, right? And then after 2 years and a half, I went back in the village. And then at first I was with my grandma, and that's the moment that we started to go to the sand mine, because our uncle was working in the sand mine. I mean, at that point, he was our only option, my big brother and I, to go to the sand mine, trying to contribute. First of all, like when you go to the sand mine and work, at least you get fit that day. And then the pay, we figure that after. But most of the time we were working with our uncle, which helped us when he can. So there wasn't a salary at that point, because he was the guy that helped us, obviously. So we were helping him for the most part in order to help us.
And what was it like? I mean, describe what a sand mine is like.
First of all, it's not anything that you want a 9-year-old to be working there, because it's like strong. You have to dig sand or shovel sand all day long and do all this hard work in the mountain that they are digging, which is dangerous sometimes. He collapsed and even kill people when they're, I mean, yeah, he was tough. At first, we were just like, kind of like helping, doing that. We were, even though I was bigger than 9-year-old kid, but still wasn't strong enough to carry a big shovel and shovel sand and lift sand from, like, I don't know, move sand from 8 feet away, you know. I wasn't strong enough, so kind of like build up and learn all the system.
And at this point, what was your view of your life? Like, did you like your life?
Never. And that's something that, that's one thing that my family didn't like about me as well, because they feel like I was rejecting them. Some people feel like I was blaming them for failing, because I wasn't going to, I wasn't accepting that life. And for them, I should have. For them, I wasn't grateful. I was seeing my life father. And then one thing that I knew is that if someday I have a kid, I don't want him to have my life, the life that I had. That's what I thought at that time. Today, my regret is that my kid might never know my struggle, my upbringing, my story, which made me, I mean, I didn't like it at all, you know, but still, I'm grateful to the life that I had, because things would be different. I wouldn't be here again. I wouldn't be here. It's been years now that I go home sometime and see those kids that, for me at that time, they were the perfect kid. I envy them so much. I wish I belonged to their family or something like that. And everything was always right for them. They always get his school fee pay on time, have book, note, pens, everything. They always go to vacation. I've never been in vacation, you know. Vacation time, even a weekend for us, it's time to go to work, you know, trying to get something. And then they will go to vacation. And then when school start, they will come with all these new sneakers, new backpack, new everything. I hate the moment that school starts, because that's the moment that you see all those new things around and you're embarrassed with your old shoes that has hole everywhere. Oh man, I hated that moment. I was more happy. I was okay with when we get after a couple months, because yes, there are new shoes. It's not that clean anymore. Everything is not flashy anymore, and you don't look so different, right? Kind of like, yeah, it's different, but yeah, right. But at the beginning, everything is fresh. They come, even the new notebook has a smell. You come to the class and everybody has this new notebook. They are opening their notebook, and you're out there looking in your old book if you have a empty pages, so you can take note on before finding time. Expect to have a notebook later on.
You are a testament, though, to the fact that the things that are hard for us aren't necessarily bad for us. You're sitting here today because of the story that you went through, and there's something else we'd like just to show you. It's a photograph that Damien's got.
I'd just be interested in your reaction to it, Francis. What emotions just that evolved?
So it's a photo of you with your dad.
Yes. My dad was a carpenter, and then he ended up in the village. He was sick for so many years. And then they thought whether I would be a builder or a farmer or maybe a carpenter or a mechanic or something. And my question was, then why can I do something else? Like this, like that, like becoming a fighter. I'm like, no, that's not for us. Have you ever seen anybody this, that? And then I would be like, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to find out, And they didn't like that. And everything that I was, and even my alternative, because I have no guarantee that it's going to work. It was just a dream, but I hold this dream so much. I care about this dream so much. But even my alternative wasn't anything close to what they were doing. My life was somewhere else. I was looking to my life, expecting my life to be bright. I mean, my dad died, I was 15 and I was still at school. So no many things was happening after that. Then I left school. Then I started being on my own. Then get to the point that I was sick again. I realized at some point that, okay, when my dad died, I had an excuse. I was a kid. I was going to school. Then I find myself at some point, I was an adult. I was 22, 24. Then I'm like, yes, my dad died at home. He didn't even die in the hospital. Then I was like, if the same thing happened to my mom today, like, what can I do? For my dad, I have an excuse that I was a kid. I was going to school. Today, I'm an adult and I'm working, but I still can't afford anything. I still can't provide any security to me, to myself, to my family. And what happened if I have a kid and this? And that freaked me out.
I interview the world's top performing people. And one thing that we always talk about is nutrition, more specifically, what goes on in the gut. Because what most people don't realize is that actually your gut affects so much, from your work, to your workouts, to your relationships. And so I've been on the search for the perfect supplement to enhance my gut. And I'm so pleased to say I've finally found it. If you would like a high-performing gut, look no further than Biotic from Heights. Just one capsule a day. It's simple, it's easy, it's effective. It's made a huge change to my life, and if you're searching for your own version of high performance, it might just change your life as well. So if you're looking to sort out your gut, look no further than Biotic from Heights.
So take us to the age of 22 then, Francis, when you made the decision to take the leap and actually start to do something different, take a different pathway.
I mean, at age 22, that's when I left the village to go do boxing, because I was like, okay, it's been a dream for so long time. And then if you don't do something to make a dream a reality, you rather go back to sleep and keep dreaming, because he will always he will remain a dream. And I had to take action. And then the reason why I did that, I feel that he was a moment. I felt that he was a moment. I couldn't do anything. Even like the job that I was doing, I wasn't motivated to do. I'm like, man, come on. Until when? Which kind of life is this? Was I born to just survive? Would I, at some point in my life, like find the excitement of living, like, or by doing something or by trying to do something? And for like a year, I wasn't even doing anything. I was the best worker in the village, but I wasn't really into it. In my mind, something was going on. So at some point, I just left.
So do you think it was the power of that vision that you'd had? It created what's often referred to as cognitive dissonance. It was uncomfortable to stay where you were because you knew you had this really powerful dream of where you wanted to be.
Yeah, I have the dream, and I also have I also need something to happen in my life. I'm also exhausted of this life that nothing is happening. I'm working day after day and still not have any security. I still can't provide any security. I'm a man already, supposed to be a man, and not only take care of myself, but be able to take care of others. But I still don't have that security. And then I look around, I see people that are 50, 60, and they're in the same place like I am. And they were in the same place when they were 20. I realized 30 years happened. 30 years ago, they were in the same place, but nothing have changed in their life.
So you resolved to leave Cameroon in the end?
I first resolved to leave the village, and I was 22, moved to the city, and that's when I started boxing. And I understand real quick that it can work there, but at least I keep training, because whether it's in Cameroon or wherever, to become an athlete, you need to practice. So I was practicing. You need to have a skill to develop your skill. So I was practicing, but I knew that nothing are going to happen in Cameroon.
And what was it about boxing that attracted you as a means of escape?
I always love it. As long as I can remember, I always love everything combat related. Movies, fighting, everything. That was my thing. Boxing, because I look around at age 13. I look around. I mean, they kicked me out of the school someday, and I was out. And I think that was the day that I was like, I was pissed, you know, like, okay, I've been trying to make this work. Why it doesn't work, right? I've been working in the sand quarry, sand mine for years now. Every free time that I have, I'm in the sand mine trying to work to get something. But yes, I'm still getting embarrassed like this, like I was nothing. And then, you know, I was in the school and kids will give you that look like, yeah, whatever, like, we know, right? I was so embarrassed. But that day I went out and I was so pissed. I have tears in my eye, think about it. And I even think about those looks. And now I'm like, yeah, but they are not better than me. They look at me like they are better than me. They are not, you know. And then I started trying to convince myself that no, I'm not what they are viewing me as. And I'm like, I realized that I'm even better than them, man. You know, the least that I have, I know the value of it. I earned it. They are just lucky to have parents that can provide. So at the end of the day, I know the effort that I put to have the minimum that I have, even though it's not enough. And I'm going to prove them. And I was making this vow to me, like, with all from my guts, like, this is gonna happen. Like, I'm gonna prove them. They can't keep looking at me like that, you know. When you're down for so long, coming back to a normal level wasn't enough, you know. Just doing like a normal kid wasn't enough. They already have a picture of you. I needed to do something that's gonna put me in the scare that they all have to look at me. Like, I need to step above average so they can look at me. And that's the day that above, between everything, my passion with combat, with fighting, then I realized the thing that would do that for me was boxing. Boxing is the thing that I'm gonna do my passion without having a bad reputation as my dad, who was fighting. I realized boxing is the thing that combines everything that I want. I will fight, I will do good, and then all those kids will realize I'm not worthless. You know, that's the moment that I chose that I'm going to be a boxer. And I was 13. So 9 years after was my first time to see a boxing gym.
Wow.
Yeah. Moving forward 9 years after that. But the dream kept living in me, and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, by the time that I went to find a boxing gym, I feel like if I didn't find a boxing gym at that time, I would have passed away. Like, I needed it. Nothing else. There was nothing else that I want in life except that. And then I was looking to do that.
And you decided you had to come to Europe to make that dream a reality. You couldn't achieve it in Cameroon. I've read lots of stories where people say Francis Ngannou came to Europe, and it's one line. It doesn't even begin to tell the story of the journey that you took, and the journey that you needed all that energy, all that desire, all that drive to make it, because there would have been so many opportunities to turn back on that journey.
Yeah. First, I wasn't even, like, my first dream was in Europe. It was America, the United States of America. I always loved United States of America. And then if you love boxing and you have heard a little bit about boxing, you know that it's happening in the United States of America. They will tell you, you will know Muhammad Ali, you will know Mike Tyson, you will know the famous fight of Mike Tyson, the rivalry between Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. You know all that stuff. And it all happens in America, which is one more reason to go to America. But how to go to America from Cameroon? I mean, no way. First of all, I can afford even like take an appointment to the embassy for visa application. It's not even thinkable. The only thing that was closer was maybe navigate, immigrate, and get to North Africa and trying to get in Europe. And there, maybe you have the opportunity to start something and to build up something to end up maybe in America. Because even when I leave Cameroon, it was just for boxing. I have nothing else in mind. I think if it wasn't about boxing, I would just rather stay in my country. Because even the concept of like living without knowing where I'm going, without knowing if I will ever come back, without knowing anything, it was the most scary thing ever, right? I have only one reason, is to go find an opportunity for boxing. And that's how, and that's, I lived with that for so many years. I thought it out for so many years because I'm like, okay, is it a good idea? Maybe I should just stay here, settle, trying to get better. Maybe this, maybe that. Basically, you have heard people that been gone for years, for decades, or that they never heard of anymore, which potentially have died. I'm like, man, maybe I'd rather have a life without dream instead of having dream without life. You have all those questions.
And how did that make you feel?
You debate with yourself. You're trying to find, to make a right decision for yourself. but there's something inside you that you can resist, that you can manage. It's your dream. You get to the point that you realize that people died chasing their dream or trying. At least you die for something.
So is that the decision you made, that you'd rather risk your life to escape than stay there?
That was an easy decision for me. That's a decision that most of us do. If you know a little bit about immigration, that's the decision that everybody do. You see all those people that been rescued or died in the ocean every day. They know all the story. They know all the worst thing that is happening there that you have no idea. But they have no choice. And believe me, those who have choice, they don't get there, because the path to get there is so tough, it's so scary, and when you're in it, it's so scary that you have to think twice. If you have a choice, a little bit of a choice, it's easy to turn around and go back home. Because when you're in Cameroon or in Senegal or wherever you are in Africa and having a dream to go in Europe, I'm gonna do this and get there and trying this, and then when you get there and see the reality, you realize that you didn't know the full story at all. I mean, you just have a piece of an iceberg in front of you. There you have the whole iceberg in front of you, and you're like, man, maybe I'd rather live without the dream though. You question that.
What was the hardest part of the journey? Talk us through it.
The hardest part of the journey was keep going, knowing that you might not be coming back, it might not happen. I made it in Europe inside the Zodiac, the small inflatable Zodiac like this that you put air on and paddle. Stuff that some people have that in their pool. If you have a decent pool, he will fit in your pool. That was our ship that we
How
were
many
using.
people were on that boat?
9. It was 9 of us. That was my 7th
So what kept you going when you'd failed 2, 3, 4 times?
The dream, the motivation. There was nothing to go back to. I think when you get to the point that you realize or you convince yourself that there's nothing to go back to, it's too hard, but little easier than when there's something to go back to. Some people have something to go back to, and it's easy for them to go back. Maybe they are going back to live in their parent house. I had a small apartment out that was rented out. I let that a couple months ago. I was a carrier in the market, so I have a position there. I was gone for months. That position wasn't there. What I was going back to start over. The little money that I made, that I have saved, getting there all along the way, you spend it, you call, like, send me this, and then you use it for this purpose, trying to get there, and then you spend all that money. If you go back, it's to start over.
So just to make it really clear to the people watching and listening, just talk us through the steps of the journey. So you traveled to North Africa from Cameroon?
Yeah, I mean, I left Cameroon, from Cameroon now to Nigeria, then from Nigeria to Niger, and then from Niger, that's when you have to cross the desert and then get to Algeria, the Sahara Desert, and get to Algeria, South Algeria, and then have to cross Algeria and get to Morocco, and then from Morocco now, you start to evaluate your option. And then, in Morocco, there's 2 spent territory. In the west, there's Ceuta, and in the northeast, there's Melilla, which is like a little bit small territory, but would belong to Spain. And they are protected by fence and armed guards, both sides. So if you get in that perimeter, you're basically in Spain. If you're lucky enough not to get thrown back out, So some people would try those options. I tried a couple times. I swear it didn't work. But I believe in the ocean. I try ocean over and over.
And then you were homeless in Paris.
Yes, we first get in Spain and then get in prison for like 2 months. After that, they free us. Then I was going to Germany because at that time, there was a Klitschko brothers in Germany, heavyweight boxing. And the train of heavyweight boxing was in Germany. So I was going there. Preferably, I wanted to come in England. But, even when you are in Europe, to come to England is another story. You have to go north France, part de Calais, and then trying to maybe find truck and jump and do all these things. And I'm like, man, I think I'm tired of doing this. And I'm too big to, I don't know, like, I just want a base, somewhere to start. And Germany was the place to go. But I was in the group of people, and most of them, they was going to Paris. And I stopped to Paris, like, oh, let's take a look in Paris, since everybody is about Paris. And then I stopped there, and then next day, I found a gym, I met somebody, and then meet people, and then in like a week, I had a small network around me, organization. I started to know things in Paris, and I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad. Maybe from here I can build, when you can shout loud from anywhere, they can hear you from far distance. I think from Paris I can shout.
Love that.
Loud.
Look, it was the best thing that ever happened to you, because you met someone, they took a chance, they took you into the boxing ring, you ended up with a contract to fight in the UFC, amazingly.
First I went to the boxing gym.
Yeah.
I didn't even know MMA. I went to the boxing gym and I met a guy of the name of Cameroon, who helped me in a lot of aspects in Paris, which is he's the person that helped me the most. Like, he talked to the boxing coach to get me in the gym and all the stuff. He helped me financially. Like, my first sneaker in Paris, he bought it to me. My phone, people were making fun on me on my phone, and then he gave me a new phone. He gave me an apartment for 2 months. So from the street to to one apartment that he has in Paris, I lived there for 2 months. He was the guy. So,
and when you look back at Didier and the impact that he had, subsequently now when you're fighting the heavyweight champions of the world, how much do you feel you owe somebody that took a chance on you when nobody else would? How do you think about him now?
Well, it's easy. I think positive about him. Didier and I, we're still in contact. And then, again, I'm grateful that I met him with all the help that he have helped me. We kept a good relationship. And I'm not disregarding everything that he has done to me or that anybody have done to me. But one thing that I always fight again, which most of people will not accept, is that it's not somebody that helped me or anybody that helped me will make me who I am. Because if you're a stupid person, they can help you as much as they want. You won't do anything. Your life depends on you. And the reason why I always fight against that, because most of people, basically in Africa, when I grew up, most of people think like if you have somebody that cannot help you, you can be anything. And I strongly disagree with that. People can help you, but the only person that will help you and decide on your life and change your life is you. From the moment that you take that decision and put the work in, that's when you change your life. Somebody can bring everything in your life. every of us know somebody that was born in a great family and they take good care and trying to make him a good life, and he still ended up being an idiot. It's all about you. So I like to take credit myself for what I have become. It's not like I have done anything wrong, right? I give credit to who deserve, right? But I give credit to myself first as well, because I've been the one going into all this, putting myself into this, right? My parents helped me, getting me in this world, you know. From the moment that I was the most vulnerable in my life, they was there. And I will always be grateful for that. But I still get the credit of my life.
And you deserve the credit, because you continue to make really brave decisions. You know, you ended up in UFC, you became the heavyweight champion, and then you walked away from the UFC. Like, nobody does that, Francis. Like, tell us the thinking. Tell us how you came to the decision to walk away from UFC.
My dream, my decision, my principle. First, we disagree on a lot of way that things were going. I think the biggest mistake that the UFC did was to try to mistreat me or to massage me up. That can work on me. I'm so stubborn to be massaged up. You know, and then from that moment, not only he allowed me to understand the business and to understand the mistake that was in the contract. And whenever they come around with a contract, I said, we're going to fix those, because this gives you the power of this, and take all my right, and I can't do anything. We have to make things fair. And I'm like, no, we always do like that. Good for you, but always do like that doesn't mean it's right. And what works for somebody not necessarily works for somebody. What doesn't work for others might work for me. How about we try something else? And they wasn't down for that. And
wow. Were you scared when you walked away?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you have this big corporation, this big company that has a lot of power. They have a lot of investor. They have a lot of financial power. A lot of people have an interest in this company, and then you're saying you're getting in the position that basically you're making them losing money. The company will do everything to save that.
So you walked away, Francis, and a lot of people watching and listening to this will be familiar about when you took on the impossible odds of facing Tyson Fury for the heavyweight championship. I want to ask you if you'll take us to that moment where you knocked him down, you're stood in the opposite corner, and you're seeing the heavyweight champion of the world on the canvas. What was going through your mind?
Nothing. I was in that fight. I was thinking about him. I was thinking of what will happen next. I wasn't thinking about, you know, I don't carry my story in the ring and start, you know, you're there, you're fighting, and I'm like, okay, he's going to come back up, this is going to happen. And I knew that Tyson is the guy that will always come back from knockdown or something like that. The guy almost come back from knockout. So knockdown wouldn't be an issue for him. So he was cool, but how to handle the fight, I wasn't thinking about anything else except that fight at that moment. Maybe afterward or now we can reflect on that, but at that moment, that's not the thing that you think.
And so many people watch that, thought, this guy's won. Then they announce the results on the scorecards. You lose to a split decision. Your face, I expected you to look sad, down.
Why? I mean, I won. Look at me now. Look at my life. Look at where I was when you think I lost. You think because some foolish judges make some decision that changed anything in my life? My family that I was telling you about, they were sitting in the first row watching that fight. The dream that I was carrying since I was a kid, I was that night living that dream on top of the world. I was there. And for all the people that been doubting me, I was there proving them wrong. For everybody that ever looked me down, I was there proving them wrong. High there was home watching me on their TV. I've won everything. You think like because some judges make a decision, It's not a court. The only decision that a judge can make to change my life is a court if he signed me to go to jail. But I'm out here. In fact, because of that fight, from that fight, I won this fight. I won everything. I won everything that night in that fight. I think I won everything from boxing, and the least that they could have get back was to get that, like, oh, you son of the bitch, you're not taking everything from us. You know, like, what would have happened if they have give me a decision? It makes the boxing look really bad. Like, they need to save a face at some point. I understand that.
Listen, thank you so much for joining us. The final thing, you're about to fight Anthony Joshua very soon. I saw Anthony yesterday. He said, my job when I fight someone is to break their spirit and take their soul. Is it possible to do that to you after the life you've lived and the journey you've been on?
You know, I will never say, they say never. Nothing is impossible, right? We don't know the strength of Anthony Joshua, but even though I don't believe he has that strength, but we're going to find out in 2 months.
Good man.
We're going to find out, and I think the reverse is going to happen. I'm going to be the one taking his soul.
Love that. And listen, the final thing, we've got a gift for you. Would you mind grabbing the gift, someone, and bringing it in? Because on your Instagram, you describe yourself as a dream chaser.
Thank you.
And I know that it was your dream to have some Air Force Ones as a kid. And I know you can go and buy yourself a pair, but we thought we would gift you some with, on the front, you'll see there's a FN for your name and HP for high performance on the little metal tag at the front. So
thank you.
That's our little gift from you.
Appreciate that.
Are you a dream chaser?
I'm a dream chaser. Dream chaser one day, always dream chaser. You know, is a mindset that never leaves you. And every time that you get something, the next day you're thinking of what next. For some reason, I think that's the downside of being a dream chaser. You don't take time to enjoy a moment. You're always on the move, always on the move. But I like being a dream chaser. It's my personality.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for the sneakers. Okay.
No worries.